Happy Aloha Friday, everyone, and welcome to another episode of MaiTaisAtSunset. You know what? I'm still full from Thanksgiving, but let's have a great episode. I'm Tai.
Aloha, I'm Mai. Happy Aloha Friday. Happy December. This is the last month of 2021. Can you believe it?
I can't believe it. Time has flown, and it's definitely 2022, which is weird.
We are just a few weeks away from 2022. So let's set a good intention for today and then for the new year. So I wish that we share a lot of positivity today. I set that intention to have a really great recording today. Everybody will love it. And we have some really good energy going to the rest of the year and to just keep flowing to 2022 for all of us.
I think there's some like new exciting things going on in 2022 as far as like concerts are coming back, venues are open, things like that. By the way, listeners, if you have not prepped your 12 days of Christmas, you need to get that started. And the 12 days of Christmas is like a little cute, unique gift idea that I had mentioned like a while back, but now I'm mentioning it again to remind our listeners that starting December 13th, you can give a significant other 12 gifts and they open them on specific days. And then leading up to Christmas morning, a bigger gift.
It's so cute.
If you want to
that is so
put
cute.
a cap on it, you can.
Yeah.
It's cute. It's thoughtful. It's like an everyday sort of like, hi, this is what you're, like just a simple something. I mean, I was telling people like send a gift card, like a $5 gift card one day. Say, have a coffee on me. Actually, now Starbucks coffees are like $6 plus.
Yes.
So you better send $6, not $5, because you'd be a little bit short, I think.
What else? Since everything's starting to open up, I went to a couple of events recently where there were no masks. Everybody had to prove that you were vaccinated. Everybody, and we didn't social distance exactly. It was like a big thing, a lot of tables, people sitting around tables, and we were having drinks and food and no mask at all. It was very
So Hawaii
weird.
no longer has like a mask for outdoors, right?
We were outdoors. Yeah, I think we had like a couple hundred people, maybe 250 at most.
Okay.
But yeah, it was very weird to be around strangers and just people again. It was very, very interesting. I mean, it was just a beautiful night. It was outdoors. I showed up at sunset and it went until it's about 9:00 at night. And it was just a beautiful moon. I was by the ocean and stars.
Oh, that's nice.
And it was so nice to just be back outside, socializing. It was so beautiful. My family even had a barbecue dinner outside the following night, just because the weather was so beautiful and it's not too hot. It's nice and cool now. And I think it was, the moon wasn't full, but it looked pretty full, and I got some really great pictures and video. So maybe I can share some of that, but we had a really nice, big kind of family dinner party, and we had live music. Oh, so pretty under the stars and the moon. Hawaiian night.
That sounds awesome. A Hawaiian night. I love it. Actually, I forgot to mention, it's kind of a special episode because I'm recording from a different place instead of a room. I'm actually sitting in a very modern office trailer, recording from the land. And so this is kind of a special occasion because this has been a long time coming.
Yeah.
Trying to get everything situated and moving my computer out here with the microphone. So I'm hoping that the recording actually sounds better.
Okay.
And has less like background noise, because where I was recording before had like traffic, neighbors, people mowing lawns. Now it's like dead silence except for like crickets and bugs. And right now I'm dealing with a friendly fly that keeps landing on me because I smell so fresh. But oh boy, here we go. So actually, I thought it was funny talking about the end of the year. I'm already making appointments for next year. And I keep forgetting to put 2022. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's already 2022, like coming up. So hopefully, then it's tax season, and hopefully all these other variants of the COVID-19 go away. I'm planning on doing a bunch of traveling in 2022, and I'm just like...
Talking about traveling, you asked me a very interesting question, and you said you're going to do this for the blog?
Yes, I am.
So I will add my whatever to the blog too, but you are going to do a blog post about what would you do on the outer islands of Hawaii, the other main islands, if you only had 4 or 5 hours on each.
Right. Somebody posed a really great question at a happy hour that I went to recently, and they were like, if you could do one thing on each island, like what would you do? Because they're planning on going. So they actually found that the flights were cheaper going inter-island. So they wanted to do, they have such a short amount of time in Hawaii. So they wanted to jump from island to island, but they wanted to do like the smaller islands, like an activity each, and then maybe spend one full day at the big island because... Hilo, Kona, so 2 different sides, because they would have to drive and like stay in different places. So we were going to start off with Kauai.
Kauai. I love Kauai. Absolutely beautiful. You know what's so funny about Kauai? I never saw pigeons.
But lots of roosters and chickens.
Roosters and chickens everywhere. It's like...
That's what they're famous for.
It's like Chicken Island. They're just overrun
Chicken Island.
Everywhere.
I know, like every shirt they have is like a rooster on it. Amy loves it. Amy's like born the year of the rooster, and so she like loves all that stuff. It's really funny.
I got some really great, fabulous photos of a rooster. In fact, I did this really great painting of one. He was just very handsome rooster, and he posed for me.
Some of them are really handsome, and they like know it. So I think it's really funny when they do that. So for Kauai, I was saying like you should go down to like a resort and have breakfast. And there's one that's in Princeville that's really nice, and they have 2 swans that are like swimming in this little pond in front of you. And then I would just enjoy the beach because the beaches there are really nice. You had mentioned the Nepali Coast like in a previous podcast.
Well, yeah, Nepali Coast. You did that paddling.
Yeah.
Absolutely gorgeous.
So fun.
That's still a race that they still do. I would love to do it one day. I just like to iron it. I don't want to do a lot of changes. I think it just slows you down.
No, changes are no fun. Yeah. It's quite a long distance, though. I think it's like 40 miles, if I'm not mistaken. It's around the island. I remember it being really long. And maybe it's not as long as the Nawahine Okekai, but I think it's pretty long. It's got to be at least 20 miles. But it took all day, and there were like helicopters swarming us, and it was a lot of work.
But absolutely gorgeous. There are waterfalls all along that side. There's hiking.
Caves. Yeah.
Beautiful hike. I mean, you can live in there for days. Anyway, Kauai is also the birthplace of my favorite ice cream place, Lepert's.
Oh my God, how funny.
I went there once. I was so excited because I was in Hanalei side, and there's this cute little store that like a little tiny strip mall. And there was Lepert's ice cream. They also, on Kauai, they make my favorite poi. Hanalei poi. I don't know where the poi factory is, but I would totally go if I knew where it was. And something that you have to try when you're on Kauai is they are famous for their Lilikoi Meringue Pie.
Oh, yum.
And you have to go into this little Simon store, Simon restaurant. And I think it's something Simon is the name. And it's kind of near the airport. And you order your pie and you take it home.
Oh my gosh, how wonderful.
They know.
See, I feel like you know the little locations, whereas I'm like more of the bigger... I have that more macro view of Hawaii, and you have that more micro view of Hawaii just because you've been there for so long and you were born and raised. So it's interesting to like take a step back and be like, okay, I have like a meso and macro view, and then yours is like micro. You know, where all the little places are.
But Lepert's ice cream, my favorite. If you go there, it's the coconut macadamia nut chocolate ice cream, and you get that in a waffle cone.
Waffle cone, she said.
In a waffle cone. Yep. Cone. Oh my God, it's my favorite. What else? Oh, golf, of course, on Kauai. Beautiful golf courses there if you love golf. Lots of dive spots all around the island. And Waimea Canyon, which I would love to take photographs all day.
Yeah, I think it's very much like the image is very equivalent to the Grand Canyon.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can close your eyes and imagine the Grand Canyon, then you can see Waimea as well. I only got to stop there on the side of the road and just like look for a little bit because we had to keep moving. But the traffic on Kauai is worse than any I've ever seen. Like even in Oahu, like you only have one lane. A one-lane road and you're stuck and you're just like, oh my gosh, I should have gone to the bathroom. I should have watered myself. Like, brought some snacks and stuff like that. So just know that Kauai's got a pretty rough as far as traffic-wise. If you're trying to go from one side of the island. I don't think that
there is another freeway. I don't think there's freeways on that island.
It's just a road. No, there's no freeways.
It's just highways.
It's a road that goes through.
I'm not even sure, but I don't know. I don't know.
I liked it. I liked being there. It was nice. I think that's one of my favorite islands, even though it's like they call it the Garden Island and all that stuff. It's a couple's like retreat. It's still kind of nice. It's just the beaches are wonderful.
There is a temple on Kauai that I really would love to see. There's a story about this guy who was he lived his previous life in India and he wanted to build a temple somewhere outside of India, and I'm not sure if he was specific to Kauai, but he apparently reincarnated, remembered his whole past life and his mission.
Oh wow! And
he reincarnated as a white guy who was able to make a lot of money, and he built this gorgeous temple
That's a really great
in
story.
Kauai.
What's the name of the temple? Do you know?
I can't remember, but it's famous, and I think there's only one.
Okay, here it is. The San Marga Aravan Temple I'm sorry for my pronunciation, is a Chola-style Hindu temple dedicated to the Lord Shiva, located on the Kauai Island in the state of Hawaii, USA.
Yeah, and I think his whole story is on the website too. The guy who built it, and he talks about his past life.
Oh, that's beautiful. And it's in such a lush location, you know? Like,
is it up against the mountains in the middle of the tropical rainforest?
Yep, it has like gold like accents in the roof and it's just all white. It looks really nice.
Yeah.
It's an intended pilgrimage. It's an intended place of pilgrimage for Hindus worldwide.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's beautiful. That's awesome that he did it on Kauai though.
Yes. So it's in our backyard. So I'm excited to go see it one day.
$3.2 million.
That's not bad for. But I think he started that project like 20 years ago.
Yep, you'd be right.
Yeah,
you're right about that. Sorry, excuse me.
I think it's finally done though. I think it's completed.
Yeah, I think it is done as far as this. Oh, it started the construction in 1990, but it actually finished recently.
Yeah. I want to say that's how come I knew about it is because it was like it announced that it was finally finished.
Yeah, cool. All right. We learned something today. I did not even know it. It's in Kapa'a.
Beautiful. I love Kauai.
Yeah.
I love Kauai.
Oh, it's so
apparently
green.
Okay, so I have a friend who he's a pilot for Hawaiian Airlines and he swears that the fried rice at the airport in Kauai is like the best. I challenged him and he even brought me some and it was good. But on Oahu, Times Coffee Shop is my favorite fried rice. But they're very similar. I will say they're very similar. But Times Coffee Shop is a little bit sweeter to me and that's where my taste buds are. So it's my favorite.
Where are we going next?
How about to Maui?
Maui is the second largest island called the Valley Isle.
Mm-hmm. And what would you do with 4 or 5 hours on Maui?
I think I would go and hike Haleakala.
You would like go there and then just hike around?
Yeah. It was really pretty. It's really nice. It's kind of funny that I would say like I would hike there instead of Kauai, but Kauai, the beaches are nicer. The water is nicer. Mm-hmm. Whereas Maui, like everybody's doing the road to Hana, And the road to Hana, at the end, when you get to Hana, there's actually a really great pizza place there.
Mm-hmm.
It's really funny. It's like more like Chicago, New York. It's like you could do Chicago or New York, but it's funny that it's like in the middle of like Hawaii, like Maui Island. So yeah, no, but I would go probably hike around Haleakala because it's just pretty and it's nice and it's just something different than what you did on Kauai.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to like vary it up. What about you?
If I were there for sunrise, I would go up to Haleakala before sunrise, at least a few hours before first light. So you want to get there around maybe 3:00 in the morning. I don't know if they have a gate, but the last time I was there, it was all open. So you could just go there so that you could see the stars, then you could see first light, and then you could see the most magical sunrise you've ever seen in your life. Haleakala, meaning house of the sun. I mean, you're at the top of the world. You're above the clouds. Above the clouds. But
really nice.
Those sunrises, it's not magical every single day. You gotta time it right, and you don't want to go there during like when it's rainy or something. Just try to find a clear day. But it's magical. It is, and it's super cold. It is, you're above the clouds. It is cold, and if you were staying at the hotel, you steal all of the blankets from the bed and maybe even the sheets too. And you sit in your car and you drive up there and you watch the stars and take a million pictures. It's just gorgeous. Back in the day, there used to be a bike ride that you could do down the mountain.
I think I remember that. Yeah.
And it was incredible fun. I heard that sometime after I'd done that, which was years and years ago, they shut down, but I don't know if it's resumed again. But that was really fun. What else? Maui is where the Krispy Kreme donuts are.
Oh my gosh. Maui has a Chick-fil-A. Maui has a Chick-fil-A before Oahu. Can you believe it?
Yeah. And
I was like, excuse me? Like, what? Guys, like,
but if you're coming from the mainland, don't waste your time going to wait in line at the one in Maui.
No, it's really not worth it, guys.
It's all the same everywhere.
There's so many good places to eat on Maui and Kauai, like in Oahu. But
I remember going to a restaurant in Maui. It was kind of like every place was full, and then we just turned this corner and went into this. It looked like we were walking into like a grotto, and I can't remember the name of this restaurant, but there were no menus. There was a waiter for each person, and they knelt down beside you and whispered the chef's specials. And then, like, literally, I said, I remember saying, that sounds interesting. Is it possible to get it like this? And they said, no problem. And they didn't write anything down. They had nothing that they were reading. And then they walked away. And then, it was such an experience that I will never forget it. I hope that they're still open. I can't remember the name of the restaurant, which is crazy because they left such an impression. But I bought their cookbook. There was a cookbook that came out.
That's hilarious. You bought the cookbook.
Years later, I saw that they had published a cookbook. And I think it was like just before they might have closed a location. Like I think they expanded all the way to Oahu. And then that location closed. But it was wonderful. And the food was amazing. It was like they just made to order anything you wanted. And there was no prices. So you didn't know until the end. It was a surprise. You just kind of just ordered whatever you wanted.
That's funny. Surprise.
Surprise, here's your bill. Oh, that's how much that costs. Yeah. That was one of those like, you know what? This is an adventure. We're only here for tonight. Let's go.
Oh my gosh. Where are we going next?
Oh, and then don't forget, golf is also amazing on Maui.
You and the golf.
Lots of dive spots. I don't know. I learned how to play golf for free when I was in high school because they had golf lessons. They had the golf team. And I only joined the golf team because all the cute football players joined the golf team too.
Oh my God. Miley, I question sometimes your motives. Your motives are very clear.
I thought it was really interesting that I could be on the golf team with the cute football players. And it wasn't really popular. But it was turned out to be the best investment of my time because I learned how to play golf.
How funny.
I had private instructors. It was fabulous.
Boosh.
That was when I was in high school. Yeah. How about to Lanai, which you can see
Lanai,
from Maui.
It's called the Pineapple Island, which I think is cute. Lanai, I only spent like a little time paddling there. I think we did a day trip. We hung out in the Four Seasons, had a massage or something. Did a little bit of paddling because they had the canoes down, but it was like 4-man. We didn't stay very long. Then we flew out again. So that's all I've got for Lanai, because I know a lot of people go there, but there's only like limited amount of stuff you can do there. So
there are 2 major resorts. The one by the ocean, and then the lodge at Kauai up in the mountain. And the lodge at Kauai has a gorgeous golf course. Just gonna say that right now. They also have horseback riding, but you have to book that like a week, 2, 3, or 4 in advance. But it's absolutely a different world. I mean, it's Hawaii. It's lush. It's misty. I don't know. It was gorgeous. It was the lodge was like an oversized log cabin, which is not something that you see really anywhere in Hawaii. Maybe on the ranches, plenty on the Big Island, but absolutely beautiful. And it was absolutely an experience to be there. I've paddled from Maui to Lanai a few times, back and forth. And that's a really
was that the paddle?
Tough
that's the
channel.
Paddle for Life, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the Paddle for Life. Hosted by it's a canoe club on Maui, and just a wonderful experience. And you camp out overnight. I remember one night we were camped on Lanai, and it's so weird because it's like that beautiful ocean resort is right there, and then they have like the beach and the park area right above the beach is where we were all camped. And they were really kind. The resort, the Four Seasons, I think both hotels are now owned by the Four Seasons. And I think Larry Ellison, is it him? The Oracle guy who bought that island. So crazy.
It's so weird you could buy like an island that's part of the state of Hawaii. Like, I don't understand that.
It must have come with a lot of conditions, because it's not like he owns the people who live there and work there.
No, but I mean, you can't necessarily, let's say you had shit ton of money. You can't really buy a state.
Yeah.
But could you buy all the land in that state? Like, is that legal? I don't understand how that worked, to be honest.
I don't know.
How did Larry Ellison buy the island? I'm going to look it up.
How did he get away with it?
By Lanai.
Why weren't the residents of the rest of the state informed as it was happening?
In June of 2012, Ellison bought Lanai for an estimated $300 million. It's home to 3,200 residents, 3 hotels, several restaurants, and other businesses. Ellison owns a 98% stake in the island that he bought for $300 million in 2012. He hopes to turn the island into a sustainable wellness laboratory. He owns the hotels, the water company, the cemetery, the main supermarket, and a third of all the housing. He's even buying into the electric grid. That's crazy. But I guess he's taking care of everybody. So during the pandemic, he actually paid everybody's salaries on the island.
Yes, he did. That was actually in the news.
That was
I
nice.
remember.
That's really nice.
Because there was nobody coming to the island, and he was its owner.
Ooh, the Four Seasons is so pretty there.
They are. Both hotels are absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, you can always camp too. You just have to get a permit to camp at the park, and it's absolutely beautiful. That is the beach that I did get wiped out on, though.
Oh, no. I think knowing that they are trying to make Lanai into a sustainable laboratory of testing and all that stuff is just interesting to me, by far. I just don't know how they do it, you know?
I think on Kauai, that's where they did the the free electricity with Tesla.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So I don't know if it's the entire island or a good portion of the island. They became like a test for Tesla to see if they could do an entire community of solar electrical. So they have free electricity. Isn't that wonderful?
Huh. That sounds good to me. Okay. Before we move on to other islands, I want to say Nihao is the forbidden island.
Yes.
And it is run by two people who allow people to go on there, but you can't really live there.
You have to have special permission. And you can, and they do, I don't know if they do a tour or if they just allow you to sit on the beach, but you're watched, I do believe.
Yeah, you can't take anything from the island as far as I know. It's like a retreat or something, like it says there's 170 people living there.
Well, originally, Nihao was the first people to buy an island were the Robinson family. And I believe they personally asked the monarch, and I think it was King Kamehameha the First. It was one of them. It was one of the monarchs, and they made a deal. And he said, and the king said that these people that they live there, you have to take care of them. They are entrusted to you as well as the land. So it's not so much as you own it as you become the caretaker.
Got it. Got it. Like, what did you need Nihao for? Like, what is it famous for? Let me look. It's the Forbidden Island. That's all I know.
Well, okay, so, I mean, it's just absolutely gorgeous. As far as I know, everybody speaks Hawaiian fluently on that island. Wow. But they also speak English, and many of them are well-traveled. Like, they go to Vegas, they go to Disneyland, they go everywhere also.
Oh, they have hunting safaris.
They might have wild goats and deer on that island too.
And they are famous for shell lays and their craftsmanship.
Their shell lays are super gorgeous and very expensive. And if you get
they're pretty.
Authentic Nihao lei, they're very beautiful. Very shell lei necklace. Yeah, beautiful necklace.
We should definitely put a picture of that up there. So it says there was like all kinds of interesting things about Nihao. So it is off limits. So it was actually purchased by Elizabeth Sinclair in 1864 for $10,000. Can you imagine buying an island for $10,000? Yeah, I'm sure that's
$10,000. We don't know what that was.
Was that 1864? She must have had a lot of money. And then I guess a Japanese Navy fighter pilot crashed on that island. It's called the Nihao Incident because the residents on that island helped him escape or something, or he received aid or something. So that's kind of probably, I don't know why it's called the Nihao Incident. Like, I guess how did they know? Okay, here's my question. So they're on this like very isolated island, right? Did they know that Pearl Harbor was being attacked?
I think so.
Oh, I know why it's called the Nihao Incident. So this pilot, he crashed and he told the locals like what was happening. And there were a few locals on Nihao that were of Japanese descent. And so they decided to help him. But they also tried to kill the leaders of the island. Oh. And so it says like Ben Kanahele and his wife, Ella Kanahele, killed the pilot because he like stole weapons and stuff, and he was like having these other Japanese people help, and apparently a couple of them committed suicide because they knew helping him, and then he died, they were going to get in trouble, and so they just committed suicide instead. But that's a huge thing. I mean, these and what's interesting is Ben actually was awarded an award from the government for stopping the takeover of that island. So the Japanese pilot was trying to take over the island, like for the Japanese, by trying to kill all the Nihaoans. But Ben was awarded a recognition, but Ella was not. But she also helped kill him. So I am like, I see you, you know. But how interesting, you know, like because Nihao is like the furthest west island. It's like little dot.
Yeah.
And I just think it's really interesting, like how there's not that many people on that island, and yet they
had their own battle.
They had their own. That to me, that's really interesting. Like, all right.
So that was Nihao. I think we have to go to Molokai next because Maui, Lanai, Molokai, they're in that. Those all three of those islands, you can see all of them. And I have gone to Molokai so many times. It is where it was one of the places that I learned how to drive.
That is
when
funny.
I got my permit. And there's not a lot of people driving around on that island. And my brother sat in the back seat and we were going up mountains or somewhere and there's no guardrail. And he screamed in the back seat, I want to say for a very long time, at the top of his lungs, "We're going to die."
I would have screamed too. Knowing you, I would have screamed as well.
I got this.
So now we have Molokai. It's called the Friendly Isle. And the only reason why I ever go to Molokai is either one, to do the great paddling race, Nawahine Okekai, or two, to live a country life.
It's very country.
Super country. The post office was like it looked like a log cabin. No joke.
The town is, I think, like less than 10 buildings.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them that is famous is the bakery, where you have to go and buy the Molokai sweetbread, which they're famous for.
Sweetbread?
Sweetbread. There is, I think there's a shipwreck somewhere around that's a dive spot. And I don't know if it's like, I think it's on Molokai, but I've also heard that it could be on like around Maui. No, around Lanai. But, you know, all those islands are so close together that it could be anywhere.
Yeah.
But I don't even know what kind of ship it is, but there is a shipwreck beach on Lanai that people go to. But I imagine that there's many ships that have wrecked because the Molokai Channel is one of the craziest, roughest channels, I think, in the state. Is that crazy? Well, also the channel to go out to the Big Island is apparently very crazy and dangerous too. The waves get big in there.
You know what? It says that Molokai was the birthplace of the hula.
All the islands have their own hula beginnings in history. And they're all a little bit different.
Yeah.
And they all have there are different lineages. And so the styles are different on each island. Okay. So I have been to I grew up on Molokai back and forth because my father used to do a sailboat race from Oahu to Molokai.
The other way.
For many years. And we would always stay at Hotel Molokai. Hotel Molokai. I should say Molokai. And I would always order the 2-hour pancakes.
What is that? What are the 2-hour pancakes?
It's just how long it takes to get to you.
Oh my God, that's funny. Hawaiian time.
But the view is absolutely amazing. And the pancakes were worth the wait. They were absolutely delicious. Everything we ordered was always good, but it always takes 2 hours.
Yeah.
But absolutely worth it. The view is amazing. And I always had a great time. But, you know, being a kid and you're like hungry, you'd almost wish your parents didn't wake you up to go sit there at the table for 2 hours.
And just wait.
They drank coffee.
For 2 hours? Dang. Yeah. They have a lot of patience.
Yeah. Well, I got better as I got older. I think my brother, he used to have like video game things, and I learned to bring a book.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's probably smart. Sounds like you and your brother got to like at least adventure. Did you guys, so if he did the race, did you guys go on the sailboat too with him? Or did you fly over and meet him?
We didn't. We flew over and met my dad there, but we would go down and meet him by the harbor.
How cute. How fun is that?
It's really good fishing over there.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I caught my I caught my first mahi-mahi on around Molokai. We were coming in, and I was so excited to catch my first fish.
Nice.
And thank God I caught something, because we just got there. My fish was on ice for maybe an hour, and then I had to cook it and eat it, because that was all I had for dinner. I didn't bring any other food. So I was certain I was going to catch something.
Yeah.
That was also the first time I ever gutted a fish, cleaned a fish, and cooked a fish.
On the island of Molokai.
Yeah, my very first fish that I caught.
That's cool. What a great memory.
And mahi-mahi, my favorite. I love mahi.
Mahi-mahi's great, but I think there's something about this fish. Oh, you know how it's like really bright green and turquoise, like when it comes out of the water, and then it turns like a dull gray once it's out of the water and it's dying. Yeah. There's like something they have to do to preserve the color before. My brother's nodding his head yes. There's something you have to do to preserve that color. Do you know what it is? He shook his head no, so he doesn't want to be on the podcast, but it would have been interesting to know. Yeah. He's a big fisherman, so, but I just remember like pulling a mahi-mahi out of the water, and it literally was like flapping around and then turned gray, and I was like, oh my gosh, what happened to its beautiful like yellow and turquoise color? And everybody's like, no, you have to do something. I think you have to bleed it out and then hurry up and like hang it upside down or something so that it doesn't change color. I don't know. Either that or every mahi-mahi that's ever been mounted is artificially colored. So
could be. I don't know. It was very traumatic. You know, catching a fish is one thing, but then I couldn't kill the fish.
No.
I had to have somebody else do it.
Beat it up.
Yeah. He handed me a baseball bat, and I'm like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, I can't. I don't know if I could hit a fish over the head with a baseball bat. When you went on your trip, did you have to hit fish? Nope. My brother said, nope, you don't have to do nothing. Don't have to touch the fish or nothing. When you go on fishing trips, they do everything
put it in the
for
ice.
You. Well, he held them up for pictures, but he didn't actually have to gut it and do all the things.
I actually didn't even take one picture.
Why didn't you take a picture?
I was so busy.
No.
I don't know. We were just in the moment, living the moment. It was okay. It was a busy trip, and I was like, I'm going to catch more fish later. It's fine.
Yeah. No, I understand. Well,
I'm sorry. That's not the first fish I ever caught. That's the first fish I ever caught open water.
Okay. So you have actually caught a couple guppies. Did you go to the Polynesian Culture Center and use their little things and pick it up? Yeah.
No, I've never done that.
No, they have like little stupid like little hook fishing, and you can catch like these little guppies. I was thinking that was like your first place.
No.
Did you ever go? Did you ever go to the Polynesian Culture Center with me?
No, not with you.
Okay.
I would have probably gone, I don't want to go to this.
I don't know
why. It was because it was a thing. As a school kid growing up in Hawaii, it was like a mandatory field trip. And
like every year?
had done it so many times. I want to say I've been there 3 times for school field trips.
That's not that bad, Miley. For like 17 years, 3 times is not that bad.
3, yeah, no, that's just for mandatory. Then I've been there because every time somebody would come to visit, like family, that's where we would go. And that was also mandatory. I take that back. It was mandatory. I had to go.
Yeah.
And at some point you're just like, it's so educational that you're just, I
guess that's kind of true for like, here, we would go to like a restaurant called the Taste of Texas because they have so much Texas memorabilia. Their food was really good though, but I enjoyed going there. But it was always like the same spiel of like Texas and like here are all the guns and here are the things. Also, we would go to like the zoo a lot, the science, like NASA. So to see all the space stuff and always be excited about like space food because I think it's so cool how it's dry.
Yeah, the dried ice cream.
That's
the only thing that's good.
Dried strawberries are really good. Freeze-dried ice cream sandwiches. Yeah. That's like always. I would always save my money for that kind of silly stuff. Anyway, yeah. Hey, let's do a bonus thing. A lot of people see aerial photos of Molokai. So right off the island of Maui, there's that crescent-shaped sort of lagoon island.
Great dive spot.
A great dive spot. So Molokini was in Hawaii legend a beautiful woman. She and Pele, the fire goddess, were in love with the same man.
Mm-hmm.
And the jealous Pele.
She loved a lot of men.
Madame Pele is like the queen of all queens. I feel like that's in Moana. That is like, what is it? Tafiti or something? Yeah. That is Pele, right? Madame Pele. Like, she is always protecting the islands from like hurricanes and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Because they have to hit the island range first. Yeah. So the jealous Pele cut her rival in two and transformed her into stone. So don't cross her, apparently, because Molokini ended up being like half a cone. So that's so terrible. She ended up being a crescent-shaped island where we all go snorkeling and scuba diving. Terrible.
It's gorgeous, though. I mean,
250.
I'd love to go diving out there at least once.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
How wonderful. It was really fun when my brother and I went. We had a good time.
We only have 2 islands left. We only have the Big Island and Oahu.
Woo, Big Island. Let's go back. The Big Island.
Should we go Oahu and then end with the Big Island? We seem to be going down the chain.
Okay. Well, for me, Oahu, I've talked about it so much, but I didn't realize it was called the Gathering Place.
Over 1 million people are gathered here.
You know what? I don't know why they all chose that island to gather, but good for them. Like, it's almost over.
I don't know. I was driving the other day, and I swear I saw half of them stuck on the freeway, heading towards the west side. It's just like a parking lot, like 7 lanes of traffic.
It's so terrible.
Down the H1, and it's just, whoa.
I told my mom if I ever lived on the west side of Oahu, like I would have a luxury vehicle that would drive itself, because that in itself would be a great investment, because you literally spend 2 to 3 hours in it's just stopped traffic, literally. So
stop traffic.
I might as well take a nap. So for me, that self-driving car would be
so
beneficial there.
Amazing, and it died. They killed it, but there was for a very short time, the public transportation, our local bus, we had a ferry that would take you from the west side all the way to Honolulu.
That's funny.
And you could get on a boat and take this really nice cruise to Honolulu instead of being stuck in traffic for 2 hours.
I would do it, because then you could sleep.
I would do it too. I'm very sad that didn't pan out and stay.
If I had 4 hours on the island of Oahu, I would go to Nico's Pier 39 and eat the crap out of poke. That's it. That's it. That's all I would do.
I can't not order the furikake ahi. I actually asked for that to be rare.
Yeah.
Just seared on the outside, and then rare in the middle is what I always ask. And then you got to order the tea. They have one really good tea and iced tea. Yep. And the cookies. The cookies are amazing.
Cookies are good. What would you do in your 4 hours of living on Oahu for most of your life?
I would go to my favorite beach.
Okay.
I would definitely go to Nico's. I love Nico's. Foodland. Foodland also has poke if I just want to quick get poke.
Yep.
What else would I do? I'm trying to think of like my aunt when she comes from California and what are the first things she wants to do. She wants, like, what we did a lot is we would go grab beverages like Lanikai juice or Starbucks, and we would go sit on the beach and we would just drink our drinks and sit on the beach.
Yeah. I like the idea.
Wow, it's really hard to think. I love to have to see that view in Waikiki, like from the top of any of the resorts that have views of Diamond Head.
Yeah.
And to see that in the evening, especially if you can see the fireworks on Friday night, that's just kind of magical.
Love the fireworks.
4th of July, my favorite place to watch the fireworks are anywhere over the water. Kailua Beach usually has a 4th of July fireworks show. Hawaii Kai has one also over the water. Very nice. Or if you're seeing one of the big ones off of Ala Moana. And I think even on the west side. I'm not sure exactly where because I haven't gone to those. But there's a few out there as well. I think somewhere near Eva and Kapolei.
Yeah. All right, we're on the last island.
To the Big Island, the biggest one. Okay, what do you do? 4 or 5 hours?
4 or 5 hours. So depending on when you're there, I would snowboard at the top of Mauna Kea.
Uh-huh.
And then surf.
So winter.
Yeah, probably surf in the afternoon when it's a little bit warmer. That would be the two things. That's the only place where you can get snow and sun in the same day.
And you'd need to. You'd want to defrost.
Yeah.
I think that I would first, in my 4 or 5 hours, I would cheat and I would extend my stay. I would go to my uncle's house. I would beg him to use his 4x4, trade him for my rental car, and then I would go up to Mauna Kea, Mauna Loa at night.
Yeah.
I want to be up there with the stars, so close that you can touch them. If it were winter, I would totally build a snowman. And then I would love to go down to swim with the turtles at whatever secret beach that my uncle knows. I don't even know the name of the beach, but he's taken me there a few times. If I have enough time to have lunch, my favorite place is this marina that's somewhere in Kona, and I'm sorry, I don't know the names, but I would always order the tuna sandwich, which is not made with canned tuna. It is fresh caught tuna. And it's the killer tuna sandwich. And they serve cold beer in these giant schooner glasses, I think they're called.
Yeah.
They're just very heavy, big, very cold beer. Goes great with that tuna sandwich. And then you've got these views of, Kona, the water. It's just beautiful.
My favorite thing about Kona was definitely swimming with the manta rays at night. Doing that scuba dive. It's actually kind of creepy to be suspended in very dark water and then having these massive things that look like aliens/angels circle around you and eat. And then, so you can actually snorkel or you can scuba dive. If you snorkel, you're laying flat on the top and you're holding onto a floaty, which I don't think is as exciting, but it can be super scary. I don't know if you've ever seen images of it, but they drop these spotlights and they shoot them up, and so you see the underbelly of them, and they're white, but they're circling around you. They're huge too. I don't remember who it was that used to go beyond the reef of Hanama Bay. But they would swim with the manta rays out there. I forgot who it was. I don't know if it was Heidi or it was another older lady. But they would just go out and do it. And I was like, I don't even know how you do that by yourself.
And the channel is super rough over there.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Super rough. But the Big Island also has black sand beaches and glass beaches. The green beach. Green sand.
Yep.
So lots of things to do.
It's that crystal that comes out of the volcano, which I can't remember the name of. But it's funny that you mentioned that because I remember taking a geology class and my professor had a very large one of those rocks. It was the size of a bowling ball, and he used it as a doorstop.
That's awesome. And I guess the final thing about the Big Island is the Kona Coffee, right? Kona Brewery. All the good things. Food's still good. Food's always going to be
good. Chocolate also grows on the Big Island, very famously. It grows well with the vanilla beans. So Kona vanilla chocolate. They love that volcanic soil, the coffee also. Also on the Big Island, what else did I have? I have never gone to the volcano. I've never taken the time to go to see the volcano. I don't know why.
So many
I just never have.
too.
I just never make the time to go do it. Every time I talk to my mom about it, she's like, "Oh, it smells there because of the sulfur."
Yeah,
and I'm like, I don't care. One day I'm gonna go, and I'm gonna go. But I don't want to go if I don't have my camera. It would drive me crazy if I didn't have my good cameras with me to go take photos and videos. But there's also a hike through one of the caves. And I don't know if it's part of the tour, but I know that there's a section of the caves. And you might have to have a special guide to take you there. But it's supposed to be like a womb. And I just it's kind of like a spiritual thing, and you go there and it's like being in the womb of the earth, you know.
Womb of the earth. Well, you're gonna have to like we're gonna have to like extend on that. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Mai Tais at Sunset. Hopefully you enjoyed our little trip around the Hawaiian Islands. We can always add to it. I'm sure we will eventually down the road.
We always do. We always do.
Check us out at MaiTaisAtSunset.com, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and anywhere you listen to your favorite podcasts.
And until we meet again, ahui ho.